welcome everybody to a brand new episode of The Geek Buddies! Hey! Well, we're coming to you live again from my office, and after much finagling with the lights, we are doing a new show. We did our best I could. I mean, we were jumping around this thing, putting tapes on a bunch of things, but eventually I'm going to get some blinds, and this is going to be better looking in that way, and I'll get better seats for everybody. Maybe we'll get some leather seats. Who knows? Down the road. It all depends on how big the Geek Buddies get, and maybe we start a Patreon. Maybe you all contribute a little bit to help us kind of soup up the studio a little bit. We'll see.
The seats are very comfortable.
Oh, if you say so. I don't know. My girlfriend picked these out. I'm not the biggest fan of them, but she liked the look of them. So anyway, all right, I'm John Rocha. I'm a writer, producer, and host here in Los Angeles.
I am Michael Vogel. I am a writer and producer, animated TV shows and movies.
And I am Shannon McClung. I'm an animation writer and a television actor where you may have seen me on Silicon Valley, 911, and this is going to come out tomorrow, right?
Yes, it is.
Tomorrow night, or tonight, you'll get to see me on the second half of the season premiere of Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
Boom.
Nice.
I've been tweeting about it a lot.
You should have a watch-along.
Should I?
If you had a YouTube channel, you could do a watch-along of your stuff. People would tune in to watch you watch stuff.
Oh, boy. So they're seeing me watch it for the first time?
I had 1,500 people tune in to watch me watch myself on the documentary for the first time.
I don't know. I think that's a bad... For me, that's a
bad
idea.
Because your face?
Yeah.
Oh, fair point.
Yeah, I'm very judgmental.
Oh, I got you.
The most with myself.
Right. Fair point.
Pretty judgmental, period. Let's just put a period at the end of that.
I'm not doubting that.
Yeah, fair point. All right. Well, I want to thank all of you all who watched our first episode on camera of the Geek Buddies. Really appreciated that. Over 1,300 of you watched so far. As we're recording this, hopefully it gets up to 15, maybe even to 2,000. That'd be great. But, we've been doing the show for quite some time. If you can't believe this is our 38th episode.
Is it really?
It's kind of mind-blowing, isn't it? 38th episode.
Yeah, and the comments thus far have been very nice.
Very nice. Very positive.
You all always say, don't read the comments. I'm like, I want to hear the critique.
Yeah.
And thus far, everyone's been very friendly.
Well, I don't allow negative comments to stay up, so I always take them down. Yeah, I always take them down. If they're negative, if they're constructive.
How many do you take down?
Maybe a couple.
Did you take any down?
From this?
Yeah.
No.
Are you telling the truth?
Yes. But every once in a while on the podcast stream when people tweet at us, I'll take the negative comment down or something like that. But it's rare.
Gotcha.
It's only about people kind of pushing their agendas about their nerddom, and so when it goes too far, I just take it down.
Right.
I do it on my own channel now.
Now I want to see.
Okay.
Now I want to know. Now I want to know.
Great. I have to deal with that for a week.
Nope, I'm done. Take him down. Take him down. I don't want it. I'm done. I'm good.
Big on camera.
Oh, then I'm out.
Yeah, I know. That's
what that'd be the end of the video podcast.
We'd actually get footage of Mike smashing the camera.
What's this crap?
John, what happened to your camera?
It went viral.
Yeah, right. My jinxie HD camera webcam. I'll be getting a better camera down the road, but for now, this is what we're playing with. But
the camera's very comfortable.
One more time. Oh, is the camera comfortable? One more time. Thanks, everybody who watched. Even if you didn't leave a comment, we really appreciated you all watching, because I wasn't sure how the response was going to be, because, going on camera, I knew that's the next step for us, but I think we all knew it was the next step for us, but I didn't know how it was going to be received, and I can't believe how well it was received, so it's awesome.
Well, your very professional taping of the...
Yeah, please. Let's not move the camera over to see that.
This is what you guys are seeing. If you guys could just see right over here. It's
I'm using every piece of equipment my girlfriend uses for photography to cover up these
thing of beauty.
walls,
it's a thing of beauty.
These windows. Yeah.
DIY.
I do the best I can. And look, it looks better with Shannon on the right-hand side, although there seems to be more gap here now.
Because I don't take up as much space.
Well, yeah, I didn't
That's where the ghost is.
Oof. The ghost?
You know about the ghost in your apartment? So anyways, on with the geek news.
He's still getting over the flu right now.
Yeah, he's still delirious. Anyway, as Mike was saying, you know how this, for those of you who are new to the show, you know how, you don't know how that works, but for those of you coming back to the show, you do know how it works. For those of you who are new, let me tell you, each one of us presents a geek news item. We talk about it for a little bit, and then we jump into a main topic. And as you saw from the title of this episode, our main topic is going to be Oscars predictions for this week, and we'll cover like the big ones, and maybe someone will throw in something they want to win in another category. Well, it's not smaller. I don't want to say smaller, but in another category as we go along with the discussion. So, all right, who wants to start us off?
I will start first.
All right, let's do it.
So it was just today, Wednesday, the trailer for the Saw sort of reboot,
Yes,
I
yes.
guess, that is starring Chris Rock and actually was a story by Chris Rock. The trailer was released today. So, interesting trailer.
Yeah.
Chris Rock as an actor, I've never been a big fan of. I think he's an incredible stand-up comedian, and he's been in some films where I think he's very funny. But overall, especially in this, because he's playing it very, very serious.
Yeah.
He's playing a police detective who looks like he's going to be sort of at the heart of Jigsaw coming back.
Yeah.
What did you guys think of this trailer?
That is. Here's what I think of this trailer. I'm not a huge fan of the Saw movies.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like, I think, like, I love horror movies, and I feel like Saw was the beginning of this era of just like
Torture porn.
gory torture porn movies,
Right.
and it's never quite been my jam. But this, and maybe because of that, I was like, I saw this trailer. I didn't even really know that it had come out until we were talking about what we were going to talk about today. So I went and watched it, and I was like, huh. Because it's one of those things that at first you would never even know it was a Saw trailer until it sort of starts to reveal itself. Also, any movie where Sam Jackson is going to be yelling,
yeah, right.
all right, motherfucker, come on, to Jigsaw or whoever. Like, I was like, yeah, I can see this. like it still looks like it's gonna be in that realm of Saw, so kind of torture porny. Like, that's the entire concept of what it is. But I think just it does seem like it's coming at it from such a different angle that I'm like, I can see this.
Yeah, that's what it felt like to me. It felt like it was going back to what the originals were all about, this idea of like the philosophical conversation you have with yourself when you're in that moment. What do I do? Do I cut this off or save myself, or do I die with everyone else? Like, what's the level of pain I can take in exchange for my life?
Yeah.
What am I willing to do? And it seems like this is a whole new approach to it. And they're pitching it as not a sequel, but from the book of Saw. So it's like another tale, sort of a pseudo spin-off, I guess that you would say, Saw, because they haven't said whether Jigsaw is going to come back. So that hasn't been confirmed at all. With
We
Tobin.
see the doll.
Tobin. We do see the doll. Well, of course, the doll is theirs to use, but we don't know if Jigsaw himself, Tobin Bell, is coming back to it. And I would say that this, I mean, remember, James Wan did the first one. So, yes, torture porn is something they've used for, like, the Eli Roth stuff. But I think with James Wan, this was actually an interesting film, the first film, at least, in terms of exploring. And, look, these films make money. That's why they've done so many of them. They make buku money. But having Chris Rock is an interesting thing, isn't it? Like we saw with Danny McBride in that Halloween movie. Now it's weird, these comedians sliding into horror. I mean, Jim Carrey's done some horror in the past. Robin Williams certainly did some kind of psychological horror with 1 Hour Photo.
Yeah.
So the comedians do kind of gravitate to seeing what they can do in horror film. But this, I would have to say this is the most confident I've ever seen Chris Rock on screen.
It
was kind of surprising to see that, to be honest with you.
Yeah, he radiates cop, but knowing what a slight guy he is in real life, I'm like, I wonder what these wide shots are going to look like.
No, you're right. I didn't think about it until you said that, but it's a super, though, I think it's like, I think Chris Rock is also maybe getting to that point in his career / his age where you've been successful enough for a long time. And look, every actor, every human being has insecurities, and every actor, no matter how big you get, still has insecurities. But, it's sort of getting to that level of that William Shatner, that Bill Murray, that, those actors that just get to a point where it's like they've clearly stopped giving a fuck about insecurities and they're just doing their thing and having a good time with it. And it does seem like maybe this is the beginning of that Chris Rock, like the later years Chris Rock that we're going to get to see, where it's like, oh yeah, I don't care, I'm just doing what I want to do.
Yeah.
Which would be cool.
Yeah. Well, we'll find out. It is directed by a guy named Darren Lynn Bousman, I believe. And yeah, I think it comes out this summer.
It comes in May.
Yeah.
It's coming out soon.
They're clearly confident.
Yeah, I mean, I like it. And I like the poster too. The poster is like not your typical Saw poster at all. Just like far away, one dude standing outside. I think the cop car. I think it's Chris Rock, and you're just like, what is this all about?
I'm really just excited about, like I said, with Sam Jackson. Like, was it Deep Blue Sea? Was that the one he was in?
The shark.
Yeah,
the shark one. Like where Sam Jackson has that great speech in Deep Blue Sea where he says like, "We're not gonna fucking do this shit," and then the shark eats him, and then you have snakes on a plane with motherfucking snakes on a motherfucking plane, and now we're gonna get like this motherfucking doll. Like I just want like my trilogy of Sam Jackson horror movies that I can watch.
You gotta cut your leg off, I guess. You gotta survive this one, motherfucker. All right, we'll see. All right, well, what's next?
So that would be me. So speaking of trailers, I'm going to call this category this week let's talk about all the trailers during the Super Bowl, which means we're going to spend most of our time talking about the Marvel Disney Plus series trailer.
The sports.
All right.
Yeah, I went to a Super Bowl party and all I watched was the commercials and the halftime show. Most of the guys that I know were like, "Hey, did you hear that there's that Shakira Jennifer Lopez concert today with some things happening around it?" That's how it was for us. Yeah, so a lot of trailers. We got another Black Widow trailer that didn't really show a ton new.
Yeah.
What else did we get? Invisible Man.
We got the Invisible Man with the guy
Lee
Lee Winnell.
Winnell directed.
Who I believe he was actually connected with Saw.
Yes, he was absolutely. He wrote him. He wrote him.
Yeah.
And I was on a set visit for Invisible Man. I was down there in Australia for that set visit with Elizabeth Moss and all them. That was a blast. So I'm looking forward to this one. There was a Bond trailer.
There was a Bond trailer. Yeah.
There was a Top Gun Maverick trailer.
What did you think of the Bond trailer?
I love the Bond trailer. I absolutely did. I mean, it was 30 seconds and got you back in it, but it felt like, woo! And you got a little more of Rami Malek in this thing. You got this idea that there's a secret, that she has this secret, and when he finds out this secret, it's going to destroy everything he thinks he has.
I said this to you guys before.
Yeah.
And this was my reaction to the Bond trailer. Every time they bring up that she has this secret and that it's going to change everything and it's going to blow Bond's world wide open, I am like, fuck, I have to go back and rewatch these movies. I don't remember everything that happened.
Oh my God.
I realize that every time I see a Bond trailer, in my mind, I'm like, am I just not excited about this? And I finally realize I just get a little bit of anxiety because I don't remember everything. So I have to go back and rewatch them so that I'm ready for Bond.
All right, I have them all in 4K. You can feel free to borrow them. But yeah, I'll enjoy. And I like the Top Gun Maverick trailer. I mean, him flipping upside down, dude. That's really him in there too.
Yeah,
that crazy motherfucker. Yeah. He's so. You want to talk about motherfucker? That guy is crazy. You know, he's flipping on. I mean, he's just like, and that's exactly what they did in the first Top Gun, right? Remember, they went upside down to keep foreign relations. You know, the bird. Oh, I hate when he does that.
Yeah, they were not going at like Mach.
No, exactly. That's the thing that's insane.
I do think, and we've talked about this before, that like Tom Cruise, by any stretch, is past the age where he should be playing the action heroes that he's playing.
Okay.
But I feel like his solution to that, as opposed to being like, okay, you know what? You're right. I'm going to start playing some older roles. I'm going to do my thing. Tom Cruise's response is to go, motherfucker, I'm going to do all my own stunts.
Yeah.
And everybody goes, I mean, he's really doing it. I guess he can still, like, it. He is just an anomaly. And I love it.
Yeah.
Like every time that I'm almost like, Tom Cruise shouldn't be doing this. You see him in the plane doing something and you're like, well, if he can do it, let him do it. Like, okay, great.
Well, another interesting thing about that spot for Top Gun was we hear Miles Teller's character, who was playing the son of Goose, and he's like, my father trusted you. I'm not going to make the same mistake.
Yeah.
We get an idea of like what this relationship is going to be.
Yeah.
Have they said, is Meg Ryan going to pop up?
They haven't said for sure if she's going to pop up. Sorry. Kelly McGillis has said for sure she's not in this thing. So,
unequivocally, she said she was.
Yeah, very clear.
I believe her words were, they don't want women who look like my age. Or she basically was like, women who actually look the way women my age look, they don't want them in that movie.
So let's get Jennifer Connelly. But yeah, I mean, you get this whole. So certainly there's going to be a little resentment here from the kid for Maverick, which is kind of weird because, like, you know, she never blamed him. She said even after he died, she said
moment,
right in that moment, she didn't blame him.
Listen.
She said, yeah, okay.
Kids got their own opinions.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. So she very well may have died, which allowed him to feel what he feels about the situation, and maybe she died from the depression of having lost him in that accident. Maybe she even killed herself. We don't know what they're playing with.
Making some big leaps here.
I'm just saying, there's a coffin in the trailer. There's a coffin in the trailer. I think it's Iceman, obviously, but there's a coffin in the trailer. Could be anybody in there. Jerry. Yeah.
Okay, Jerry. Jesus.
Jerry.
So,
George. Yeah.
Marvel Disney Plus.
Okay.
Woo!
That was a lot of information in a very short amount of time.
30 seconds.
First of all, just props to Marvel and Disney Plus. They've from everything I've heard, like, they haven't filmed a ton yet. They don't have a ton of stuff, but whatever they have shot already, they took the most of it and just like boom, like they got it out there. A lot of really interesting things. Obviously, you know, seeing Falcon with the shield, awesome. Seeing Zemo, awesome. Seeing that Super Bowl game,
Yeah.
U.S. agent.
seeing U.S. Agent
agents,
and kind of coming out in the field and seeing all the dancers or the people around him sort of having these Avengers A's on their chest. Like, really, really interesting. Like, and in what way is the government or whoever being like, hey, we're your heroes, not this. Like, I like everything that it's setting up to be. Like, and I had heard this from some friends a long time ago that they were really diving into the whole certain people in America don't want a black Captain America, and this whole idea. And it just seems like that seems to be the way it's going. But clearly, the Wanda Scarlet Witch stuff was like the money shots in this trailer.
Yeah.
I mean, well, first of all, it confirmed what we had been saying and other people had been saying and had already come out, which is this idea that like different eras of sort of television,
Sitcoms,
like 50s sitcoms, 60s sitcoms, 70s, 80s, whatever. But like we're going through different eras of sitcoms as Scarlet Witch is kind of like worked through her grief of Vision dying in Infinity War. You see in one of the shots, it's super, super fast, but I had to go back and watch it. Where like it looks like it's like the 80s sitcom, the family tie shop with like the two. She kind of jumps because two pacifiers come out of two cribs.
Yeah.
So kind of like looking like yes, we are going to get like the twins from the comics, which leads to the Young Avengers stuff with Billy and whatever his brother's name is, the fast one. It's Billy and
Wiccan and Speed.
Speed. It's Wiccan and Speed, but I can't remember Speed's real name. But Billy, and also there's a shot where like you see the refrigerator and there's like a bee on the refrigerator. So like looks like Billy, looks like Wiccan is coming into things, which I'm super excited about. And then like a quick shot of Loki there at the end. Like it was great.
Yeah. To add to the Scarlet Witch stuff, I don't think I've seen this, and maybe I'm wrong. I haven't read enough analysis of this trailer, but for me, it makes sense that she's going through these things. Remember, she's Russian, right? So maybe her exposure to television was Sokovian, well, whatever, what have you. Eastern European, how about we put it in there? But like her exposure to television is watching those old American shows that would come over. So her connection to relationship and fatherhood and whatever is through maybe seeing that. So, or who knows what they were showing her while she was in the jail cell. Remember, she's in that cell with her and what's his
Quicksilver.
face? Quicksilver, doing whatever. So who knows what kind of Pietro, right. Who knows what kind of TV programming they were showing her. So all of that is
clearly Family Ties in the Brady Bunch.
Right, exactly.
When you're torturing somebody with an Infinity Stone, you show them Family Ties and Brady Bunch. That's just what you do.
There's a black and white one. So is that Leave It to Beaver?
It looked like a lead. Yeah, it looked like. Also, we see her in the Scarlet Witch costume.
Yeah, man.
Like, also, we see her in the Scarlet Witch costume, and Feige has made such a big deal out of we're finally going to see Scarlet Witch. She's stepping into her powers. Like, that I think is the one, as much as I'm looking forward to Falcon and Winter Soldier for sure, I think WandaVision is the one that I am clearly, like, the most excited about.
Yeah, it's going to be the most kooky.
Yeah.
It's just going to, it's really, really out there, so... I thought that was a huge win. Like, everybody flipped. Well, at the party that I was at, everybody flipped out. Everybody was, like, screaming and, like, freaking out about it, so...
Well, yeah, and they also announced, I think, they announced the dates for, like, Falcon and Winter Soldier is going to be in August.
Yeah.
Mandalorian Season 2, October.
2020.
And then WandaVision, December.
Yeah.
Right.
So for 3 straight months, you're going to be getting new... exclusive Disney Plus content.
It's what I was saying to somebody, I was talking to somebody who was complaining about Disney Plus. They're like, I like it, it's cool, but once you get past the library content, there's just not enough new stuff for me. And I was like, first of all, there's no getting past that library content.
Right.
That's like 3 years of stuff you can watch. But I do think, and I said this to them, I was like, I think it's one of those things, like it's a buildup. Like, we're going to get even just past what you were saying, but once you get a little past that, like once they get their footing and stuff just continues to come out, it's just going to be nonstop.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. And the level with which you saw that they're approaching these shows is a theatrical feature level. Like it is it looks so well and professionally done that you're just like, yeah, this is not just a TV show. This is literally a film, kind of like what we saw in Mandalorian, that whole theatrical approach to a TV show.
It'll be interesting to see. I do think I'm excited about it all. I'm super into it. I can't wait for these shows.
Right.
I do get a little bit worried at what point Marvel can't sustain what it does. Like, having a bunch of TV shows come out on Disney Plus that also tie into the movies, that also tie into this, and have everything be connected is like the dream. Like, I want that to work. Like, and I'm hopeful that they can do it. But like, when you start to have like this 8-episode series and this 6-episode series, and this has to happen here because then this movie's coming out, and then this is going to be this. Like, at a certain point, that's a lot of juggling.
Yeah, at a certain point, it's going to buckle.
Yeah,
and I think that
maybe.
also results. Like, I think this was disproven, but they had said that Hawkeye had been delayed indefinitely.
Well, yeah.
And
There's stuff going on.
yeah, well, there's that, but there's also, as they're kind of formatting their plan, it's like, okay, we don't need Kate Bishop to come in this soon, so why don't we push this show, kick it down the road a little bit?
Yeah.
It'll be interesting to see. I mean, you are right. I said this a long time ago to somebody about Pixar. This is before Cars 2 and Good Dinosaur came out. They were like, this was back when, like every Pixar movie was just perfect.
Right.
And someone was like, are they ever going to fail? And I'm like, well, yeah. Like, they're going to fail. Like, they're going to have a bomb at some point. That's just inevitable. It's just how long will that be and like whatever. And will they be able to bounce back from it? And you are right. Marvel, it's the same. We're all loving the run of Marvel. And I love that we've lived in this era. And I love that we made it 10 years and got where we got. And I can't wait to see how far we go. But it'll buckle eventually.
Yeah.
At some point, it will buckle.
Yeah.
Now, did The Good Dinosaur bomb financially? Like, I knew it did critically.
I think it did.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Like, Cars 2, sadly, did not bomb financially because it's a Cars movie.
Right.
I don't think it did as good as they wanted it to do. Good Dinosaurs, I think, their biggest failure.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Critically and commercially. Like, across the board and creatively. Although it looked great. It was the
Good
advancement
Dinosaur
of that.
is a beautiful looking movie.
Yes.
I could probably put Good Dinosaur on and mute it and have it on in the background like it's an Apple screensaver and be like, well, that's nice.
Right.
But like, I can't even watch that movie.
But knowing Pixar's willingness to take something down before it gets too far down the road, what do you... Because that was the second go at that story, right?
It wasn't even... It's not that... So here's what happens with animation.
Okay.
You just reach a point of no return. Like, what happened with Good Dinosaur is they kind of like were developing the story and they were trying to figure it out and they didn't quite have it. And they kept reworking it, and they kept reworking it. And, like, it's not just at the script stage. Like, you write a script for an animated movie, but then you put that up on story reels, just storyboard the entire thing. And then you just start rewriting the storyboards. Like, you start, okay, well, this isn't working, and you rework it, and you rework it. And they did, like, massive changes. And you just reach a point where you're like, fuck, we just got to start going. Like, we have to start animating. And once you start animating, you're locked in. Right. And I think this was just a thing where they were bound and determined to make the movie. And they really thought they were going to be able to do it. And by the time, like, they knew, especially when that movie was getting animated, they knew that it wasn't great. Right. But once you're animating it, you're like, we've put too much money. Like, we're doing this. We're in.
I'm sure.
Do you think that's why they didn't promote it as much as they had other
probably
Pixar films?
You know, that was my first set visit, was going to going to Pixar for Good Dinosaur.
Oh, I remember that.
Yeah. And seeing and they were putting so much effort into that film. And they treated us like kings while we were there. Like, they had a chili cook-off. They had us down there wearing Western gear. It was pretty insane. They had a mini fireplace going, and they gave you blankets, like old school blankets, like cowboy blankets. So they give you the vibe. So they really wanted it to work. But and their technology, they were pioneering that technology at that time, that high level of reality animation. What do they call that? Where it's
photorealistic?
Photorealism animation. They were like developing it and like expanding the possibilities of it. The servers, they had to throw out all the old servers and bring in new servers to handle the amount of memory that.
And you can see in the movies post Good Dinosaur.
Yeah.
You can see how the technological advancements they made in Good Dinosaur have affected their animation. Things look so much more. I mean, it's so photorealistic now. So yeah, it is what it is. But yeah, so Good Dinosaur, whatever.
Well, there we go. All right, well, let's move on to my Geek News item, and that's from Quentin Tarantino. That's right. QT getting involved here with Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. He was doing an interview for The Wrap, and he talked about Rick Dalton, DiCaprio's character, and he talked about the process and how he made DiCaprio watch these other TV shows, these older TV shows, what have you. And then he talked about what he saw the future, or what he wanted to do with Rick Dalton overall. And this was his quote. He said, "The whole incident with the flamethrower and the hippies got a lot of play. No one quite knows what a big deal that was, but it was still a big deal. And it's a big deal that he killed him with the flamethrower, with the prop from one of his most popular movies. So he starts becoming in demand again. I mean, not in demand like Michael Sarrazin at that time was in demand, but he's got some publicity, and all of a sudden the 14 Fists of McCluskey is playing more on Channel 5 during Combat Week and stuff. And so he gets offered a couple of features, low budget ones, but studio ones. But the thing is, on the episodic TV circuit, he's a bigger name now. He's not quite Darren McGavin. What a reference, Darren McGavin. Would get paid the highest you get paid as a guest star back in that time. But Rick's about where John Saxon was. So he's getting good money, doing the best shows, and the episodes are built around him. So as opposed to Land of the Giants and Bingo Martin, now he's the bad guy in Mission Impossible. And when he does Vince Edwards' show, Matt Lincoln, or a Glenn Ford show, Cades County, and that's a big deal because he did Hellfire, Texas with Glenn Ford, and they didn't really get along. But now they bury the hatchet, they make a big deal about the two guys doing it together, and then he does a couple of Paul Wenko's TV movies, and he's doing okay. So this is an incredible, well thought out backstory or future story for your character after the film ends. So this is the kind of level of preparation he had. And, there were all these rumors, and I think in interviews he'd given, he said he was like considering shooting 6 episodes of a TV show.
Because he wrote them in preparation for writing the film. Like, well, this is what an episode of Bounty Law would have looked like. And he actually wrote a few.
Yeah. I find this to be so fascinating because I know, look, Tarantino rightfully gets knocks for some of the ways he handled things with Uma Thurman on Kill Bill, and using the N-word a lot in his movies. But by the same token, he writes some of the most incredibly well-written scenes you'll ever see on film. Certainly some of the most memorable films. And hey, this one got nominated for Best Picture again. So those kinds of things, that he is certainly the Academy's taste and certainly a lot of fans' tastes. But this is the kind of level of preparation that people talk about when they talk about this guy and why he's an auteur. It's pretty incredible.
Okay, cool. Counterpoint.
Okay. My water over there. Yeah.
He basically, what you just read is the Quentin Tarantino version of a J.J. Abrams Star Wars move. Like, one of the big things that a lot of people say about, well, just because, like, I
gotta hear this.
One of the things for some people coming out of Once Upon a Time in Hollywood was this idea, like, okay, this was all great, but what did it really mean?
Oh! Oof. You almost died.
Wow.
Perfect timing.
All right, hold on.
Perfect timing. The ghost apparently is a Tarantino fan. No, so I'm just saying that, like, there was a lot of questions about what was the point of the movie, what did this mean for Rick, what was all this about, and so kind of coming out after the fact and saying, well, here's what happened to Rick, is like, that's great, but it's just a continuation of this thing where it's like, if this is important for your character, if this is important for the audience to know in your character's arc, shouldn't it be in the movie?
Oh, I don't know. No, I think people like to go the extra mile in creating these things and giving them backstories and past stories and future stories because it's just kind of things that you build into the situation. So I don't have a problem with it. I think it shows an incredible amount of, dedication, intelligence, thought process, whatever. And what are you doing creating this?
Handyman McClung is fixing the...
Can he reach the top of this?
We're going to find out.
Okay. It's just a question.
Shannon is fixing things that are very, very high.
Yeah. Property Brothers over here is trying to do things. Except he's going to need his twin on his shoulders to reach up top there. Oh, really? With your fingers. Just rip it.
I'm trying.
Do you want me to rip it?
Yes.
This is on camera. I love it.
No, I'm glad.
Yeah. See this? It's not that hard. I don't know what your problem is. My God. That's what happens when you lift weights. Anyway, you've been counting money all your life. You got soft hands there, Hooper.
So, anyways, I don't know. I just think that, like,
you think it's too far? Do you think if you were an actor on Tarantino's set and he came to you with all that stuff, you'd be like, dude, I don't need all that?
No. I think that's fine. Okay. I think the idea that he gave all that stuff that he did, I think the idea that he had all the preparation was fine. Mm-hmm. I think the part that I get a lot mildly annoyed by is this whole idea of, like, oh, and then here's what happened to Rick's career afterwards.
Right.
It's like, well, yeah, but, like, I don't think didn't need to know all of that, but I don't know. It's weird.
You think he's showing off?
I don't think he's showing off. I just think that I think he made a really big movie and he probably had to cut it down dramatically and it was already super long. Point. So I get it. And again, like I said, when we reviewed Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, I don't think I'm as good a storyteller as Quentin Tarantino. I think he's pretty fantastic and amazing and he does what he wants to do. But I just think that Once Upon a Time in Hollywood leaves me a little bit wanting in this was a really great adventure and I loved every single sequence, but what did it all add up to? And some of the stuff that you just said, I was like, oh, well, that would have added up to more had that been a part of the story.
Interesting.
But it's not part of the story when it's literally not part of the story. So when the director comes out later and says, yeah, well, here's what happened to these characters. It's like, I don't know. It just
But didn't he do that in an interview though? Like they're like, "Hey, what happened to Rick?"
Yeah,
Dalton?"
yeah, yeah.
And he had sort of developed this whole
don't-
history post the story. Like the movie ended the way the movie was supposed to end.
Okay, the J.J. Abrams thing is probably a little bit extreme. I just think that somebody asked him what happened to Rick Dalton.
Yeah.
But I think that I'm trying to think of the best way to put this. Like, I guess it's subjective because for me, I don't feel like I get real closure on. Wait, what's Brad Pitt's character's name?
Cliff Booth.
I don't on both Rick Dalton and Cliff Booth. I don't get a real closure on their relationship and what all of these events meant for their relationship or what it means for either of their futures. So I enjoyed everything I watched, but we get to the end and I'm like, okay, I'm glad that he got to go up to the house. And like, that's just me. I'm not saying, this is not me saying that this is absolutely incorrect because so many people love the movie. So this is clearly just a subjective thing. But I feel like the end of the movie is the weakest part to me. I'm kind of like, okay, that was a lot of cool stuff that happened, but
I guess I disagree because basically what we saw with the history of Rick Dalton and Cliff Booth, as long as Rick is okay, Cliff is okay. And
Right.
so in the last, however many years since Bounty Law had been canceled, the fact that Rick was only doing guest spots and Cliff would work when he could get him on the set, the fact that Rick said at the beginning, if I could just get into one of those parties with Polanski, everything would be okay.
Right.
And so we see, okay, now he's made friends with Sharon Tate. There's now going to be that line of communication. And so Rick's going to be okay, which means Cliff's going to be okay.
I mean, that's fair. I think that is absolutely the intention.
Yeah.
I think what you are saying is exactly what Quentin Tarantino wanted that feeling to be. Right. I just didn't quite have that feeling. I get it. Like logically, I understand that.
Yeah.
I think just it didn't pack that emotional punch to me.
Gotcha.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah. All right. There's no pleasing some people. All right. Anyway, all right. Let's take a quick break here for those of you who are listening to us on the audio version of the Geek Buddies to listen to our sponsors, and for those who are watching us, this is what we do. All right, and we're back. We're going to talk about the Oscars in our main topic here. It's coming up this Sunday. I kind of did a mini kickoff week for Outlaw Nation. I'm still figuring the YouTube channel out and things of that nature, but I was able to get the old episodes of the Deep Cut back. And so the people who I interviewed who were nominated for Oscars, who I thought should have been nominated for Oscars, I'm repurposing those interviews and putting them back out on the channel. So please look for those up on the YouTube channel there. But for us, we should talk about our predictions. I mean, all of us are big Oscar watchers. We've had many parties at your apartment over the years.
I know, and we don't get to this weekend. I'm really bummed.
Yeah, what's the deal? You going out of town?
I have to go out of town for work, and I leave Sunday morning at 6. So I will be, and I think I have a dinner as soon as I get to Miami. I think I basically I might not get to watch the Oscars, which I'm really upset about.
What are you doing?
I think I have to work.
What are you doing? Oh, okay. All right.
I have to work.
All right. Now that you're with me and my girlfriend watching something she doesn't want to watch. All right. Welcome to my life. It's like the Super Bowl. We got to fight over the Super Bowl because she was just like in here in the office and she felt like she was quarantined the whole time because I was watching it out there.
I mean,
all right. Anyway, so let's have a conversation about the Oscars and let's look at the categories. Which one do you guys want to talk about first?
I mean, should we go top down or?
Yeah. All right.
I would say let's go top down.
Okay. All right. So
Best picture.
Okay, let's talk about it.
Well, do we want to go through the nominees?
Yeah. Let's go through the nominees and let's bring them up now. It's 1917, Ford versus Ferrari, Joker with 11 nominations. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, Parasite, The Irishman, Little Women, which I was very happy to see, Jojo Rabbit, and Marriage Story. All right.
Should we do prediction and what we think should win?
Sure.
All right. Prediction, I think it might be Parasite.
Wow.
I think Parasite.
You think so?
I do. I think the shine is starting to kind of fall off of 1917 a little bit.
Okay.
I think Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, a lot of people think the way you think is just kind of like, it was an entertaining Tarantino movie. I think Parasite is going to kind of come out from behind and win. And I don't think a foreign language film. Did Life is Beautiful win that year that it was nominated?
Oh, that's a good
Roberto
question.
Benigni won Best Actor.
Yeah, I don't know. Actually, good question. I'll look it up.
So yeah, I don't know if a foreign language film has ever won Best Picture, but it seems like to me the way that people are starting to discover Parasite, I think Parasite is going to win. Okay. What I would like to win, which won't, is Jojo Rabbit.
Okay.
Jojo Rabbit was easily one of my favorite movies of the year. Of the nominees, it's certainly number one. I thought the direction by Taika Waititi was so inventive. All the performances were fantastic, and just it just had a sweetness while also talking about a really crappy, uncomfortable time in history.
Okay.
I would like, if I could have anything, I also would want Jojo Rabbit to win. I don't think it's going to, but everything Shannon just said, just double that. Like, I think it was probably one of the most affecting movies for me this year. Thought it was funny and weird and surprisingly emotional, and just great across the board. I would also love it if Parasite won both foreign picture or international picture and best picture. I think it's never happened before, and if ever there was a movie that deserved it, it's 1,000% Parasite. I think Once Upon a Time is going to win. I think I think Hollywood really loves a movie about Hollywood, and I kind of just have this feeling that we may get into like a Once Upon a Time in Hollywood sweep of a bunch of categories. Interesting. I think, I'll revise this throughout the evening if I do get to watch the Oscars, because when you start to see other categories, it's like if Once Upon a Time in Hollywood starts to win even some of the smaller awards that it's up for, you're just gonna be like, okay, that's what tonight is. This is the Once Upon a Time in Hollywood night.
That's what we're doing.
That's what we're doing. Okay. But yeah, I kind of have a feeling that the people are just gonna be like, yeah, this is Tarantino's big thing, and he did this thing, and it's awesome, and like, look, from a technical achievement, the way he kind of redid Los Angeles, to make it look specifically, accurately, exactly like the Los Angeles of back in the day, it is an amazing achievement. Like I said a few minutes ago, I enjoy every single sequence in that movie. I think it's all amazingly well done. So even though it's not my favorite, I think that there's enough going for it that it could end up being one of those sweeps.
All right.
Yeah. I still think 1917 will win. I think it's an old school film. It's a war film. And the way it's done, I really appreciate what it does. I hear the Parasite rumbling coming, of course, but we don't know. But the votes are already in. So I mean, just because something starts to win now and all these things doesn't necessarily mean that's going to affect the voters, because the votes have already gone in. So that's the way I look at it. And plus, I do think, as Bong Joon-ho said, I do think the Oscars can be a bit provincial. They can be a bit like, American films only for the bigger picture, and that's kind of how they look at it.
What did you call them? A local awards?
Yeah, local awards.
It doesn't really matter. The Oscars are just a local awards show.
Which goes to your point. If Once Upon a Time in Hollywood wins, it's a local film, essentially about the local city that you're putting it in.
Yeah, and I do I do think that there is this thinking, which I think is wrong.
Yeah.
It almost is like we should get rid of the foreign film category completely and just be like films are films. But like, but that they're going to give Parasite that award.
Of course.
Like, it's a lock to get that one. That's definitely happening. And like, well, once it got that, then we're not going to also give it this.
Right.
It's the same issue that people in animation have right now, because like back in the day, Beauty and the Beast was the first animated movie ever to get nominated for Best Picture.
Right.
Yeah.
And soon after, they created the Best Animated Film category. But now animated films are stuck in this place where we're all going to get nominated here, but because we have this category, we're not going to get nominated up here.
We're not getting invited to the big table.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. We'll see. I mean, I think the shock, I think, will be Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, I think, for me. But that's also the underdog that I think might also surprise people if it does win. I would be very, very surprised if Parasite wins, not because it doesn't deserve it. Lord God, it deserves it. But if it does win, it'll be like Spider-Verse, where people like started talking about it, but they're like, no way it's going to overcome Disney. And then eventually it was a groundswell that took it to the Oscar. I think the same thing might happen if Parasite wins. It's been this groundswell since it came out of people slowly murmuring that this is a Best Picture and talking to other people going, I still see people tweeting, finally saw Parasite. Everything you've heard is true. Yeah. Everything you've heard about it is true. So people are still discovering the movie, which doesn't bode well to me for voters. And there's an article that came out like 15 people didn't vote for Parasite because they didn't watch it because they didn't want to read subtitles. And so if these are the people voting, this is the thing and I think this is going to kill the Oscars. I really believe down the road, if something doesn't change, I don't give a shit about ratings or nominating more populist films. It's not that. It's the voting body. If you don't change the voting body and then out them, and I don't mean by name, I mean numbers, and show how they're voting, There's no way this survives. You tell me you want scrutiny from the United States government, from your president, but you don't want scrutiny or you don't want transparency from the fucking Academy. Give me a break. The government can hide shit, and you want that to be transparent. The Academy should not be hiding anything, for God's sakes. It's an award show for movies. Yes, absolutely deserves all the praise it's supposed to get. It is a traditional thing. It is a thing to be aspired to. But by the same token, you have to reveal what's happening. I think the public has changed, and they want to know. They no longer want the mystery. They want to know, and you should tell them.
So to be clear, you think 1917 will
Yes.
win, and do you want 1917 to win?
I do.
Okay.
As much as I love Parasite, I just think 1917 is one of the most incredible films ever made. And don't give me this gimmick shit. And don't give me this video game shit. Like, nothing drives me more nuts.
Give you the video game shit.
That's a bunch of bullshit. A bunch of bullshit.
It's a video game.
Well, Joker's about a comic book character.
I'm not saying.
What are we
it's a bad-
talking
I'm
about?
not
Okay,
saying it's a bad thing.
okay.
Parasite has no spoilers. Also a gimmick. Also, every single nominated film has some kind of gimmick.
I'm not saying it's a bad thing.
Little
I'm
Women has the
saying
time jump gimmick.
You follow these characters, you get information like a video game that leads you to an action scene. Then
Wait, every movie is a video game then.
You deal with no, but just the fact that they're following, you deal with the ramifications. You go on to the next action scene.
Am I not following Rick Dalton through the whole movie?
No. What he is saying, which you're taking as a negative, but it's
Yeah.
not, is that there's never been a movie. So this is what I'll say. I'll say what he's saying in a different way that is not going to set you off.
I'm just mad that people are trying to denigrate
I'm not. Look, I'm not. I thought.
Denigrating it.
No, people are, though.
I
And
think
that's fair.
1917. I think 1917 is great. I loved the movie. I thought it was great.
Yeah.
But I do think that because they made it look like one long shot.
Yeah.
And because you are literally following the characters the entire time. There's no side scenes where we're seeing what's happening over here. There's no cuts to this. There's no cuts back to this. There's no cuts back home to see or a flashback. Like, you are in it and you're with them.
Yeah.
And all the information that you get is information that is given to them.
Right.
And the closest thing to compare that to from a storytelling standpoint is actually the cutscenes of a video game. Because a video game is also a first-person journey where you are with the characters and you are given information as they are getting it. You don't get outside information, and you follow them into a big sequence where some shit happens.
Right.
And then you move to here, and then there's a big sequence where some shit happens. So I do think it is a good example. I think you're using it in a positive. I think a lot of people use it as a negative to say it's not that great.
Basically that. Because it's frustrating. Because I think, yes, it is, but it feels like you're with them on this journey.
Yeah.
So that's where it's not a fucking video game where someone pops out and goes a bubble, and then they only say the same thing over and over again. That's all I can say.
No.
Welcome to Jumanji.
That doesn't say.
happened in a long time.
I'm just saying. It isn't like that. And some people do video games. It drives me out of my freaking mind. Anyway, that being said, I hope 1917 wins. I think it absolutely deserves it. And it feels like an Academy Best Picture type winner. Like, it
definitely
feels like
yes, it feels like that.
So
I
we'll
agree.
see. All right, let's move on. We only have 20 minutes left, so let's move on.
I was going to say, if we're going to spend this much time on every category, we're going to be here a while. 3 hours later. So, best cinematography. Okay.
All right, best director is whoa. Oh, Jesus Christ. All right, sorry. I should have had this up already. My apologies to everybody who was watching or listening to us. Where are the predictions? You guys know? God damn it, I can't find it.
Martin Scorsese.
Yes.
Bong Joon-ho.
Yes.
Quentin Tarantino. Sam Mendes. And who is the fifth? We know it's not Greta Gerwig.
It's not
It's
Greta
not
Gerwig.
Greta
Oh, here we
Gerwig.
go. I found him. Sorry about that,
Oh,
guys.
Taika Waititi.
Taika Waititi is nominated for... Yeah. Quentin Tarantino, Todd Phillips, Bong Joon-ho, Martin Scorsese, Sam Mendes.
Didn't I say that?
He did.
You didn't say... But Taika Waititi's not nominated.
Taika Waititi is nominated?
Not for best director.
What? Quentin Tarantino. Oh, Todd Phillips.
Yes, Todd Phillips. Good
All
job.
right. I was mistaken.
Totally different
all right.
continents. Yeah.
So, I think Quentin Tarantino's going to win.
Wow.
I would like Bong Joon-ho to win.
I think that's where they're going to give it to him.
You think?
I think Bong Joon-ho will win Best Director, but he will not win Best Picture. That's what I think. They'll give him Best Foreign Language. They'll give him Best Director. And then the uproar will be out of this world about it. But that's what I think.
I'm going to flip it.
Okay?
I think Sam Mendes is going to win.
Wow.
But I agree. I think Bong Joon-ho should win.
Should win.
Yeah.
Right.
So you think Bong Joon-ho will win, but who do you want to win?
Todd Phillips.
Really?
Yeah. I think Joker's incredible. And I don't know.
I thought you just said it was just a comic book movie to make
I
your
didn't say
point
it was
about
just, I said
1917.
it's a gimmick in a way.
Just gonna make up your mind here.
It's fake news. No, in my opinion, I just think just the trailer itself should have won some kind of Oscar. It is so well done to me, the film, well directed. It brings you into the gritty and the griminess of the city in a way that we haven't seen since the 70s. And some of our greatest directors, our most revered directors, cut their bones making films about the city in the 70s.
It's hard to make a carbon copy of a Martin Scorsese film.
Oh! Talk about a gimmick. But either way, I think it's incredibly well done. The way he uses the God's eye views, the cinematography of the film, the tension that he builds throughout the movie. We don't know what's real and what isn't all the way up until the end, and we don't know if what happens to him really happens to him or not. And I love that, and I think that's one of the greatest things about the film.
I don't disagree with most of what you said. I actually really like Joker. I think I really like Joker, and I really don't like Todd Phillips.
Oh yeah, for his comments.
So it's hard for me to be like which is not
director
fair.
In this,
No. I know, I get it. It's not fair.
Tarantino said some stuff.
Yeah, no, like I'm not saying it's valid, but I just think I'm having like a very like anti Todd Phillips moment in my life right now.
I think a lot of people are. I think that's why he's not winning.
Yeah,
I think so. If he had just shut his damn mouth and let this thing roll, who knows how it would have turned out.
Yeah, I can't see him winning. Also, who I really think should win, who wasn't nominated, was Taika Waititi. I think
that's fair.
I think this should have been Jojo Rabbit's. This should have been a Jojo Rabbit's Oscars.
Okay. Best actor?
I think Joaquin Phoenix is going to win.
Okay. We've got Jonathan Pryce, Adam Driver, Antonio Banderas for Pain and Glory. Shout out. Joaquin Phoenix and Leonardo DiCaprio for Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. All right.
I also think Joaquin Phoenix will win, and deservedly so.
Oh,
It's an incredible performance. I don't know if you guys have seen The Two Popes. Jonathan Pryce is a fantastic performance. The chemistry that he and Anthony Hopkins have together, I think, was super enjoyable to watch.
I've had problems with that movie. I enjoyed it. I had problems with his nomination. I didn't have problems with the movie. The movie is My Dinner with Andre at the Vatican, basically. And so I don't have a problem with that because it's a well-written film, fantastically acted film. But for like 15, 20 minutes of the movie, or maybe 10, 15 minutes of the movie, Jonathan Pryce's character is somebody else, is another actor. So to me, I'm like, why are you nominated when there's no younger Hopkins, I think, in the whole film?
Right.
So why do you get another actor to carry your load in the younger scenes, and then you come in and do what you do? And of course, he's a majority. He's in most of the film, but to me, it's a weird nomination. I think Taron Egerton should have been nominated in this slot. I think there's maybe two other actors I would have thrown into this slot over Jonathan Pryce. I can't think of him right now, but I'm sure I could look up and find two other actors that I think should have been nominated.
Okay. I mean, I think this category really comes down to this year, Joaquin Phoenix and Leonardo DiCaprio.
Yeah, agreed.
Because I do think that if we get into this like Once Upon a Time in Hollywood sweep, it might sweep it up and Leonardo will get it. But I do think that like even if you want to hate Joaquin Phoenix and you want to hate Joker because it's a comic book movie and everything else, you still have to be like that was a fucking performance.
Yeah.
Like, it's just so good.
You know who gets fucked over is Adam Driver. That was an incredible performance in Marriage Story, and he ain't going to see one award for that thing.
You know what, though? Adam Driver's going to be okay. He's one of the only things that came out of the whole new Star Wars trilogy kind of unscathed.
How ironic.
Like everybody's like, look, whether you like Rise of Skywalker or hate Rise of Skywalker, everybody likes Kylo Ren / Ben Solo.
Yeah.
Like he's great. Yeah. He was great in Marriage Story. He was great on Saturday Night Live. Like,
oh my
Adam
God.
Driver's just great.
Yeah.
So I agree with you that he's kind of getting the short end of the stick. It always sucks because it's like there's the thing that's shitty about the Oscars is you have all these amazing performances and you just have that one performance like a Joaquin Phoenix that's showier or bigger or more over the top or whatever, and you're like, well, there you go.
Yeah. Well, it's transformative. He was transformative in that film.
Yeah.
What he did.
Well, and one actor that was not nominated, which we both really enjoyed. I don't know if you saw the movie, Paul Walter Hauser for Richard Jewell.
Absolutely should have
Which
been.
I did not see.
Oh, I'd have taken that over Pope Jonathan Pryce the Pope in any day. I'm just saying. All right. Yeah. What do you want to say, Mike?
No, I'm good. Actress?
Okay. Yeah, best actress. We have Charlize Theron for Bombshell, Renee Zellweger for Judy, Cynthia Erivo for Harriet, Scarlett Johansson for Marriage Story, and Saoirse Ronan for Little Women.
I mean, based on how everything has been going, I think Renee Zellweger's got it.
Yeah.
Which I'm really just excited for another super weird speech like at the Golden Globes.
Yeah, right?
Like there was a weird speech.
What happened?
I don't.
Yeah. Like I don't know because like when she was first coming out with Chicago and she became like a pseudo Winona Ryder now. These kind of weird kind of comments and random moments. This whole thing of push. Like I read a fantastic interview with her in Vulture. She is like letting her freak flag fly in the best way possible in that interview, and it's like I don't know 8,000 word interview. It's
Like
insane.
what? Like what does she say?
Like all the stuff that she talks about her life and how she does things, and he describes what she's doing when they're around, and none of it is like negative, right? It's just full on her being her. So I think she's more in touch with what she can work with and what she can't work with, and she's very clear about it.
I think I think going through the Hollywood ringer is it's like everybody's dream to be like a big famous movie star, and then anyone who makes it to being a big famous movie star is like, this sucks.
Yeah.
And she clearly reached a point a few years back because she was in like every other movie for. I mean, she was doing everything, and then something happened. And she got the plastic surgery, and
Allegedly.
What's her eyes?
no. I mean, she did.
She did? All right.
No, she did. I mean, like that's not. I'm not that. It's not even a. It's not even a, oh, she looks bad. Like,
wanna get involved.
she clearly got some plastic surgery. And then she sort of disappeared for a while. And I think she just had to go deal with what she wanted, who she was, what she was about. Right. And then she came back and she's doing this, and we're going to see where it goes. So I think she's going to get it.
Oh, yeah. I don't think there's any
But
question.
what do you want? Is she who you would pick?
You know, I don't have the strongest opinion in this category. Mm-hmm. I mean, I think I would like her to win. I think it was a good performance. I think playing Judy is not easy. Mm-hmm. It's a tall order. I don't think she nailed it, but I do think I think she will win, and I think she's who I want to win.
What's the temperature of the gay community about her portrayal? of
Good.
Judy? Yes?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, no, good.
Right.
I think that people feel like there's a.
And I can ask that.
I
'cause I have a
don't
gay
think
best
that
friend.
I don't think that the general consensus seems to be she doesn't sing as well as Judy. Obviously,
No, certainly
obviously,
not.
but
She didn't in Chicago either.
But props to her for doing it, and the acting behind it was really good, so that made it okay.
It feels authentic as fuck the whole time you watch it.
Exactly.
Yeah, she's incredible in that way. I think the other person people might look at would be Charlize. A lot of people felt like Charlize for Bombshell.
That's who I would pick.
Yeah?
I think Zellweger's going to win, but I would have picked Charlize.
Wow, that's your choice?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
I can respect that.
I really liked Bombshell. I think the
Me too.
story was told better in the loudest voice on Showtime, but it was a different story because it was about the rise and the fall.
Right.
But Charlize Theron, and granted, she had some assistance from prosthetics.
Sure.
But her performance as Megyn Kelly, I mean, to me, that's a Joaquin Phoenix-like performance. I mean, that's a transformative performance where the first time we saw her in a trailer, it was like, oh my god, that actually looks like the real person right there. And that's the makeup. A lot of that is the makeup. But then when you actually hear the way she has that affectation, her voice. I mean, and she was outstanding.
I thought she was too. Yeah, I really liked it. And look, I interviewed Jay Roach for that. That'll be up later on this week for the Oscars coverage as well. So yeah, she's incredible, and she's the one that made this happen. She's the executive producer in the room, and she picked Jay to be the director for the film. So yeah, I would say that too. I see some articles jumping up for Scarlett Johansson, and I'm like, no. That's Driver's film. She's a powerful force in the film, but I think she's better in JoJo, or has more to do in JoJo than she does.
I think that's true.
In Marriage Story.
Her and JoJo.
Yeah.
She was perfection.
Well, let's move on to that. Best Supporting Actress. That is Scarlett Johansson for JoJo, Margot Robbie for Bombshell, Kathy Bates for Richard Jewell, which I'm so happy about, Florence Pugh for Little Women, and Laura Dern for Marriage Story. Now, odds are, I'll start here. A lot of people are saying odds are that, Laura Dern's going to win. She's been winning all these other things. But I would, look, the Best Supporting Actress category always throws up some surprises. We've seen it in the past with the Marissa Tomei and other people jumping into this thing. And in my opinion, I wouldn't be surprised if Florence Pugh slides in and steals this freaking Oscar.
Well, that's funny that you say that. So I wouldn't have thought that, but you are right. She deserves it.
Oh yeah.
Florence Pugh deserves
She's
it.
Incredible.
She took a character that is normally portrayed as not the greatest.
Yeah.
And made her awesome and
Made her
sympathetic. Yeah. So she was amazing. I do think Laura Dern's going to get it. And Scarlett Johansson would be awesome.
Yeah. Scarlett Johansson would be a nice upset as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's going to be Laura Dern, but I would say Scarlett Johansson.
Okay.
Continuing with the Jojo Rabbit sweep.
Yeah, I would not be mad if it was Scarlett or Florence Pugh at all. I think they both deliver fantastic. But I do want to give a quick shout out to Kathy Bates. I think she's incredible in Richard Jewell, and I'm glad she got nominated. That film was unfairly shunned by the by some of the critics I thought were a bit too ultra liberal and in this city, and I thought it was unfair what happened. And they were looking for a story because it's a conservative filmmaker. They were a Republican filmmaker. They were looking for a reason to tear this thing apart, and they did. And it drove me nuts because this was a fantastic film about what can happen to anybody, regardless of political affiliation, if the FBI and the media descend on you and twist your words and tear your life upside down and investigate every nook and cranny of your life. How many of us would survive that? And I think it's a chilling tale that needed to be told nowadays because of the power. So I just was surprised that so many people turned against the film for some stupid portrayal of the thing that Olivia Wilde. And Olivia Wilde came out and defended it and said, "You all are crazy. Bond can sleep with whoever, but I sleep with one guy and it's an issue. Fuck off."
Yeah.
So anyway, all right.
And Sam Rockwell, fantastic.
Yes, Sam Rockwell was great in the movie.
Should have been nominated for
Best Supporting Actor, which is our next thing. That's Anthony Hopkins in The Two Popes, Brad Pitt, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, Joe Pesci in The Irishman, Al Pacino in The Irishman, Tom Hanks in A Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood. Shannon, you want to take this one?
Yeah, I think it's absolutely going to be Brad Pitt.
Okay.
And I enjoyed his performance. I thought it was really good. I probably would have gone with Pacino.
Wow.
Yeah,
Really?
I really liked his Hoffa. I don't know a ton
They
about,
shot me in the head. Yeah. Anyway.
I don't know a ton about Jimmy Hoffa. I've heard that.
Really?
Well, I mean, I know the Union. I mean, I know that. But when people talk about Pacino, that wasn't really Hoffa. Like Hoffa didn't have to talk that much. Hoffa was a scary guy, and I thought the way that Pacino played him, I'm like, this is so entertaining.
That ain't my Hoffa. Are you saying it's Hoffa? You're saying it's Hoffa purists?
Not
They're
my
Hoffa purists.
hashtag not my Hoffa.
Ain't my Hoffa. What do you think, Mike?
I do think Brad Pitt's going to win.
Yeah.
And I'm okay with it because just based on that scene where he takes acid alone, I would.
Oh my God! Right?
I would give that to him.
Pitt was like, "Oh, you think Lude's in Wolf of Wall Street or something? Let me show you something, Leonardo." And he does his own in his own movie.
I also think that he won't win for this, and I don't think he necessarily deserves to win this. But like Tom Hanks as Mr. Rogers was just so like, I just bawled.
The whole time.
Like I just was crying.
Which one made you cry more, the documentary or this one?
Oh, that's a good question. I did cry in both. I think I cried more in this one.
Okay.
Just because it's a much more specific, honed-in story.
Right.
Like with the Mr. Rogers documentary, you're sort of looking at his entire life, and you're like, this guy was so beautiful, and what he did was amazing. Whereas this kind of took all of that and distilled it into a very specific story, where you saw how the person he was affected another specific person. Right. It just really hit me hard. Like it was really, really good.
Did you like that movie? You didn't like it?
You didn't like it?
Wow.
No.
Controversy.
No, and a lot of it had to do with that middle section when the reporter, the actor's name I'm blanking on right now.
Oh, yeah, that guy, yeah.
But when he kind of passes out and he has sort of like that fantasy where he's in like the puppet set and he wakes up in the Rogers living room, I'm like, that wouldn't, no.
You're saying that wouldn't happen?
That wouldn't happen. They're not going to let me, I mean, Mr. Rogers, they'll trust with a lot. They're not going to trust with the, the medical well-being of someone who has lost consciousness. Come on.
You don't know?
I'm pretty sure.
You don't know?
You don't know what Rogers would have done? Mr. Rogers. All right, let's move on to something that's a specialty of Michael's, Best Animated Feature.
Although I haven't seen it, I still keep meaning to.
Yeah. We have Klaus, Missing Link, Toy Story 4, How to Train Your Dragon, Hidden World, and I Lost My Body.
Yeah, I think Missing Link is going to win.
Okay.
Like
the Leica movie. Right?
That's the Leica movie, which I still haven't seen. I keep meaning to watch it, and then I went on a gay cruise, and then I got a flu, so this has been busy. But I think that I've heard that I Lost My Body was good.
Yeah.
But like Klaus was actually a really lovely movie. But Toy Story 4 and How to Train Your Dragon, like sequels are such a...
It's tough.
That's not likely for a sequel to win unless it's amazing, and neither of those sequels are amazing.
Were you mad that Frozen 2 wasn't nominated?
So I have a lot of friends who know how much I love Frozen, so they're going to be shocked to hear me say this, but like, no.
Okay.
I love Frozen 2 because I love those characters, and I love all the things that Disney Animation was doing to sort of push certain story elements forward.
Yeah.
Like to see a princess movie where the two princesses were just all action all the time that felt more like a Final Fantasy story than a typical, like there was a lot of really, really cool stuff.
Yeah.
But I don't think that as a whole, it's a very strong, tight story. I think it's a little bit all over the place. So I get why that wasn't nominated and I'm not super mad about it. And even if it were nominated, I would still probably think Missing Link was going to win.
Okay. What do you think?
I think it's going to be Klaus or Klaus. I Missing Link. I think it was such a surprise at the Golden Globes when it did win. But I don't know. I feel like Netflix is gonna.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Netflix.
Did you like it?
It was fine. I mean, the animation was really pretty.
Which one, Missing Link or Klaus?
Klaus.
I love Klaus.
Yeah.
I talked about it on Movie Talk before they let me go at Collider, and I had no idea it was actually going to be nominated. Sometimes in Movie Talk you get a chance to champion something, and you hope people go watch it. And I was championing Klaus, and then all of a sudden it got nominated, and I was like, "You got to be kidding me!" I'm so surprised. I thought it had no chance. Over Frozen 2, I thought it had no chance to be nominated. And the fact that it did get nominated, I was so happy for it because it's such unusual animation. It's animation we rarely see, and it's a really good story. I thought the voiceover work is fantastic as well. Overall,
It was interesting. When the movie started, I didn't love it, and then in the middle of the movie, I was like, "No, this is actually okay." And then by the end of the movie, I was like, "This is really, really sweet." This is the movie won me
That's
over
absolutely
as
right.
I was watching it. Like at the beginning, I was like, "What is this guy's dad? Is like a army mailman? Like what the fuck is this?" And then as it got further into it, and I was like, "Oh, I see what they're doing." Okay, and I was like, "Oh, okay, this is nice." And it actually was, and yes, and the animation is just gorgeous. It's amazing.
Did you see I Lost My Body? I haven't seen that one yet.
I had not seen that one. No,
yeah. It's on Netflix. I got to see that one too. All right. Any last ones that you guys want to talk about?
No.
Do you think John Williams wins the best score?
He might, just because
I can't pick one track out of that whole soundtrack. I just can't.
the Rise of Skywalker track itself is actually a really good one.
Okay.
I think it's going to be Joker.
Yeah, I think so
Yeah.
too.
Yeah.
Right?
Because he's won. John Williams has won before.
Yes,
He's
once.
been nominated a ton.
Right.
I think it's going to be Joker.
I think so too. I think she's fantastic. I think that score was incredible. I tried to listen to it at work and got angry and had to turn it off. It's that influential of a score. You listen to it for 30 minutes, it'll make you want to kill things.
Don't listen to it in traffic.
Yeah, oh my God. Can you imagine? Who's running listening to that? I'm going to kill everyone in the world.
God.
All right, one last thing. Best documentary. I want to throw this out there. Oh, no, I guess so. Best documentary, Edge of Democracy, For Sama, Honeyland, American Factory, and The Cave. All fantastic documentaries. That's one thing that I really enjoyed about Deep Cut is I got to interview people for documentaries that I normally maybe wouldn't see. And it was a great eye-opening experience to see how many fantastic documentaries are out there.
So, as someone who hasn't seen any of those, which one do you think is going to win?
I think American Factory wins or Honeyland.
Okay.
Yeah, Honeyland has. I didn't think that was going to do anything, and then I watched it and I was like, this movie is incredible. It's about this woman keeping bees.
Yeah.
What it attaches to in her life and how it goes about. And you're just like, oh my God, it's incredible. She's a beekeeper, but you're just rolling with everything that's going there. And that I really think Apollo 11 should have been nominated though, because that should have won.
Agreed.
That is an incredible doc. I mean, compiling 11,000 hours of audio and 34,000 hours of video footage into an hour and a half documentary about the Apollo 11 moon landing is incredible. Todd Douglas Miller was fantastic as a director in that. So just a shame it didn't get nominated.
I saw American Factory and I thought it was very, very good.
Yes.
It's very, very good.
There-
on Netflix.
I interviewed them. That's coming up later this week as well.
Sweet.
All right. Well, there we go. That's our Oscars coverage. We'll see what happens. We'll definitely do a post Oscars.
Yep.
Part of the Geek Buddies next week after the Oscars are over on Sunday. But let us know what you thought of our predictions. Let us know who you think's going to win. Tag us on Facebook. Tag us on Twitter and on Instagram if we put it up there, or tag or leave a comment on the YouTube comments. Shannon, how can they do that?
Down there, below.
Yeah, down there below.
Right down there. If you'd like to follow us on social media, on Twitter, it's at @geek_buddies. On Instagram, at @the_geek_buddies. If you'd like to follow me on social media, on Twitter, it's at @Shannon_McClung. On Instagram, at Shannon the Geek Buddy. If you'd like to follow Mr. Vogel, it's at MKToon. If you'd like to follow Mr. Rocha, at The Rocha Says. And I will be on Brooklyn Nine-Nine tonight at 8:30 on NBC.
Watch that and tweet at him about it, please, for God's sakes.
And the nominees for Best Geek Buddies are any of you who leave comments
Boom.
or rate us or retweet us or tell your friends to listen to us. Wherever you're listening to us or watching us, leave comments, rate us, do all those things. If you're on Twitter, if you're on Instagram, if you're on the sidewalk and somebody's talking about something geeky, tell them to check out Geek Buddies. The more people that join in, the more excited we all get. And then John tells us how many people are watching and viewing us, and he gets really excited. So that's good for us. So really, like, this is all a selfish need for you to keep him excited so that he's nice to me and Shannon.
Oh, stop it. No, I'm loving this, and I'm great, and I'm so thankful that we have finally been on camera and got received so well, because I know this is the little show that could, the little engine that could, and I think it's got a chance to blow up like crazy. So I love it. I'm so happy so many of you will have watched it already and enjoyed our shenanigans, because I mean, we don't take it all seriously, but we do respect it, and I think that's important overall. That's what the Geek Buddies basic mantra is, I think, overall. Yes, would you say? Am I wrong on that?
We don't take it seriously, but we do respect it.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah, there we go. All right. Well, thanks everybody for watching. Please remember to subscribe there. Hit that red button. If you haven't done it already, would really appreciate it here on the Outlaw Nation channel. There'll be so much more Geek Buddies content coming down the road as these movies start piling up. We're going to do separate reviews. We did a Picard review, so if you haven't seen the first 2 episodes or you just saw the first 2 episodes, you want to hear our thoughts on it, that's also on the channel as well. Look for that as well. All right. Thanks everybody for listening to us here or watching us on the Geek Buddies, and we'll talk to you next time on
The Geek Buddies! Hey!